what you could share your perspectives, experiences in your organizations, how this play out in your organization, how you identify genuine urgencies in a manufactured crisis.
Yeah. So I come from a pharma background, generic pharma. So in one of the companies I was working in the past, there was a saying, everything here needs to be done on yesterday basis. So if you need something today, come tomorrow. You understand what I mean? So, but what I have seen that if you don't have a sense of urgency, many times you lose the purpose, right? Everything is important in life, but it is important that you have to prioritize. And what I have seen personally, the corporate mandate takes precedence over your personal mandate, your departmental mandate, because at the end of the day, you are doing something for the greater good. Second, it is important not only create that sense of urgency in important things, but also bring the people behind it. Else, you are fighting your own battle. At the end of the day, a lot of that we do is a teamwork. You don't succeed, right? Third point is, in a team, you will be having, let's say, you cannot run a department with all horses. You need horses and ghoda, so you see the different in pace. You have to understand where you can आपको pressure लगाना है, so that you actually come out with the right results. Because otherwise, what happens is if you start putting pressure everywhere, it is just going to break up.
So you define the prioritize.
You have to and again, corporate mandate. I go by the corporate mandate because in the world that we live in, time is of essence, absolute essence, because it is like, pehle bazi kisne mari. And it is important that everybody comes together to achieve that.
But then it's creating some kind of a burnout culture.
Yes.
Yes. So how to deal with that?
Yeah. So one thing is that I would say you have to see in our culture, what I have seen, you are talking about everything is urgent, last minute mein aata hai. What I have seen is that it is part of our culture that humko jab tak that last day doesn't come, we don't think about that. But our best thing comes out of it during that period of time. To prevent burnout, I would say you have to dissipate, not that you focus on only certain people. Because if you start putting pressure on only certain people or certain projects, then it will start burning out. Rather, you create a mechanism wherein it gets distributed over a period of time or over a period of people or priorities. That would help.
Yeah. So if I ask you, how could we discipline operations without slowing it down? How could we prioritize our tasks without creating any burden or a burnout?
Look, it all starts from how you plan. Okay. Everything under the sun cannot be attributed as urgent.
Yes.
Then actually dilutes the meaning of urgent.
And how we make sure that the planning is
so planning actually, if you have to do a backward integration, suppose we've talked about deadline and these things, like a baby can't come out before 9 months, 10 days, right? So it's similar to that. Like he mentioned about certain things need certain time. You cannot do anything before that. And if you want to do that, there would be a question of quality. There would be a question of how you wanted to deliver and just passing the buck from one person to another. So then it actually happens that in the name of urgency, we are kind of compromising certain things, which is not the case. And then actually what I mentioned, that anything and everything, if it becomes urgent, then probably then people won't value the sense of urgency of anything. Like, for example, we just passed through COVID. Like, there are many things which were urgent. Those are actually urgent.
Right.
Priority changes. And today we are seeing a kind of culture that we're artificially trying to make things urgent. A Zepto 10 minutes delivery. Do we actually need that, or it's a kind of an artificial urgency?
Yes.
Were we not been able to cook our food before that when Zepto was not delivering in 10 minutes time? Or every time when I travel, do I need a Tatkal ticket? For me, a Tatkal ticket is an urgency, because which is an exceptional thing. I need to travel for certain emergencies, certain exceptions. But if I want to plan my travel in advance and I do a backward integration, then probably I don't come across to that urgency. So it's very important how you, at the ground level, at the granular level, how you break down your activities and effort and then look at the timeline at every milestone. So that way your operations team probably needs to be tuned in that way. And if you do that way, when it's genuinely urgent, they would also come up and do delivery. But every time if you say that this is urgent, they will take it very lightly, and probably this will lose the value of urgency or lose the flavor or essence of urgency. So that's my view. So it's very important how you align your operations team with the leadership team, and the importance of urgency or important would come from the leadership. Leadership also needs to mention that which are the things which are important, which are to be delivered, data driven and whatever way, and which are the things which are urgent. Urgent means it's an exception. It's an emergency.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's not that everything under everything I cannot put a tag of urgency. So that way, your workforce planning or your project planning or your kind of an operational planning has to be meticulous, has to be properly driven with the data, and has to be properly driven with the decision making. So decision making and the data comes a very important parameter in order to understand what is urgent and what is important, and what is to be given priority and what is to be given like of an like importance. So that's my take.
It's interesting you say this. My take: to do a better planning, I think a deep knowledge and experience of the task at hand should be known to the leaders as well. Sometimes I
Sometimes
believe
we miss
that you
yeah,
miss,
yeah.
and therefore you
Yeah.
have to create
So
a
sometimes
false
the
sense of urgency.
leaders they are very superficial.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a
Not
very
that
good point.
everyone very superficial, so they may not be knowing what is happening on the ground.
Correct, and therefore you create a sense of
create a sense of
false
urgency, and then probably I am not very well planned, and I want to extrapolate my non-planning attitude to the entire team. That should not be the criteria.
Sure.
Can I go next? Yeah. So, I mean, echoing what has been said so far, I manage a law firm. Okay. So I'm a corporate lawyer. We manage a corporate law firm. I'm one of the founders of the firm, Tempest Law. There are always competing interests. There are clients who will come and say, my project is urgent all the time. Okay. There are people who don't plan and they will come and say, next day I need this task or, the share purchase agreement. We do a lot of mergers and acquisitions, so every client has his job as like, what was said, I needed it yesterday, but I'm coming to you today. So I need it immediately. Okay. So it was when we were building the firm, when we were trying to, prove the concept, whatever, a lot of things we've taken up and things like that. But it's also a learning process as you grow. And then, you need to manage multiple stakeholders. So clients, team, quality. What is very important is the quality, right? A doctor or a lawyer in the service industry, if you rush somebody, you will not be even able to apply your mind. Okay, so I don't want to do like some kind of a slot machine. Put the money, put that and your coin comes out. Okay, it has long-term implications. There are liabilities, there are risks attached. And what we tell our clients is you go to a doctor, you rush them into a surgery, you know what the consequence would be. Similarly, lawyers, corporate lawyers, you need to give them enough time. So urgency, while it's very important because we do a lot of business deals. So M&A, but it can't happen in 2 days. M&A has to happen in 2 months or 3 months. Otherwise, you're getting into a soup. Tomorrow you'll come back and exactly. Diligence cannot be skipped. There are multiple processes and steps involved in the final outcome. Therefore, it is important to plan it that way. So it's a matter of also setting the expectations. And if every task becomes urgent, there are obviously you'll have to work. Your team is aware you have to work over the weekends, you have to work late nights, but it can't be every single day. Then there is a burnout. It also reflects on the leadership. Leadership has to manage the team and all the expectations so that you retain the talent also. If you